Hello and welcome, our dear viewer. We are back to our discussion of Niyi Osundare's beautiful poem entitled, My Lord, Tell Me Where to Keep Your Bribe. Now we are moving into a new stanza, okay? And we'll carry on with our discussion from there. I read the stanza and then we go through it together. You and I, except that I'm the only one talking, but you follow me. Thank you. So let's go. The last hope of the common man has become the last bastion of the criminally rich. A terrible plague bestrides the land, besieged by rapacious judges and venal lawyers. That's the stanza. I take that again. The last hope of the common man has become the last bastion of the criminally rich. A terrible plague bestrides the land, besieged by rapacious judges and venal lawyers. Now, so let's take a look at that critically. You go to court only when you have a problem. So you are in trouble. And you go to court because you are hoping that you will be vindicated. You got into trouble not because you've committed a crime, but because now even if you have committed a crime, you are hoping that in the court you will be, treated fairly. If indeed you have committed a crime, you will be punished, and the judge can be, fair to you, kind to you, as long as you haven't killed anybody. Whatever be the case, there should be some degree of fairness for you. That's why you are there. But here is a case in which you are the one going to court. So it means you've been hurt one way or another. Hurt by a person, hurt by a system, and you go to court because you want to get justice. Right? That's the scenario here. So that's why the court is your last hope. You are believing that when you go there, you will get justice. Now, the point here is that you go there to get justice as a common man, but you are not going to get justice. That's what the poem is telling us, and that's what this stanza is telling us. You have gone to court, right? Because you want to get justice. But if the court has become the bastion of the criminally rich, how are you going to get justice? The criminally rich. Now, let's look at this word bastion. A bastion, in fact, is more of a military word, referring to a place or a position or a building, from which you can stand, or many people can stand, soldiers, for example, and see in different directions. So it's more like a fortress from which an enemy cannot approach you. An enemy cannot gain advantage of you, right? So those who are criminally rich, and criminally rich meaning, of course, people can be very rich, but when the poet says criminally rich, he has told you that that richness has come not from hard work, but from criminality, right? And such a person, of course, as we've discussed in the past, for them, the money is nothing. They didn't work for it. So they can give out the money very easily to the judge. Okay, so the court now becomes the hideout of the rich. Not only that, the strong fortress of the rich. They can use their money to gain favors against you, whether they are guilty or not. And in most cases, of course, they would do that because they are guilty. Anybody that bribes the judge to get justice is because they know they are guilty. So the court has become their bastion, their stronghold, the place where they can, stand and nothing can happen to them. They are the ones who will shoot in all directions. That's what that line means. Okay, so your last hope is no longer your last hope. Now the next line says, a terrible plague bestrides the land. Now the land is referring to your country, your place of abode, wherever. Okay? Now, to bestride is, think about a person, a huge person, for example, whose legs, he stands and opens his legs wide, like covers the entire road, for example. When we say bestride, is to walk from the left to the right, walk from back to front, the place is covered by your strides. To bestride, walk across, cover the place, by your power, whatever. That's what it means. And a plague, of course, a terrible plague. A plague is a disease. For example, COVID can be described as a plague. HIV/AIDS can be described as a plague, right? So, a plague is a disease that is widespread and it is, let me say, extremely dangerous. So, when a place is besieged by that, it means that the land is in real trouble. Everybody has to find a protection, So in the case of a disease like when we had COVID-19, you have to be protecting yourselves. You have to be hiding in your house. You have to be covering your face, your nose when you go out, and so on and so forth. It is not a comfortable, period for the land at all. So this is what the poet is saying when he says a terrible plague bestrides the land. What he's saying is that these, our lords, and the system itself is the plague that bestrides the land. In other words, all over the land, wherever you go to, it is there. It's like water that is flowing all over the place. That is the kind of picture we get here. And then the final line says, besieged by rapacious judges and venal lawyers. Now think about that. Besiege again means taking over. Like, to think about a whole crowd of people rushing into your house. We'll describe that as having been besieged. Think about, criminals. Even a military force going into a place to take over. That is besieging. Okay? So, in this case, we are being besieged by these people. So, besieging you is not for good. Once the word besiege is used, it is a capture, kind of, okay? For the benefit of the person, besieging, not for your own benefit. So when a land is besieged, it means then that the people of the land are in trouble, right? And therefore, the judges have besieged us, and not just the judges, but along with their venal lawyers. Venal means, somebody who is susceptible to corruption, who can be bribed easily, greedy people, that kind of. So, here we have a picture of a place in which those who are expected to, whom we rely upon, whom we look up to protect us, to give us justice, to speak for us against any system that is oppressing us. They are the ones that are oppressing us. They are the ones that are, if you want, raining hell, raining fire on us instead of the protection that we expect from them. So this is what this stanza is saying. In summary, we are talking about judges who do not understand. They are there for the protection of all, and especially the poor man who has no money, he doesn't have the power to fight against the rich. It is only the courts that can save the people. But instead, the judges and the lawyers are feeding fat on the criminally rich and allowing the poor to suffer. What I'm sharing with you now is to let you understand that the poet, just as the novelist or the dramatist, writes for you not just to enjoy, but to understand, to benefit, to learn from what is in the piece that you are dealing with. Here, if we do understand what the poet is saying, it is for us as readers to become conscious of what the system is. And what is our role? Our role is to be able to respond in such a way that we will not allow the land to be destroyed simply because we have not been able to speak up. The poet is speaking up. The poet wants us to be able to speak up in our own way as we read, as we understand, right? He's not saying we should take arms and go out, but he's saying we can resist this kind of situation if we find ourselves in it. Thank you.